Hey team, Jen here. I am coming to you with another video here in my writing overview series, which is designed to help students who are in my courses to better grapple with the complex monster of the academic genre. In this installment today, I want to discuss close reading. If you are taking a literature course or if you are taking a writing course in which you're asked to close read texts, close reading is also a major aspect of the academic genre, particularly when you're writing about some primary texts. So I wanted to take some time today to discuss what close reading is and how to do it well for this genre. First of all, I want to talk about close reading in two different ways. That's actually two different ways. The first way is actually close reading the primary text, how to do that well, to prepare for writing the academic essay. And the second way that I want to talk about close reading is showing that you are close reading through the writing of your essay. So manifesting the elements of close reading in the academic essay. Now these two are related to each other, but they're also a little bit different. So that's why I want to talk about them in that kind of two-stage way. So when you sit down to read a text, that's actually one of the first steps of preparing to write the academic essay. How you read a text has a lot to do with how you will write about the text. So when you come to a primary text, whether it's a scholarly article or it's a novel or a poem or a film, whatever, when you come to a primary text, you want to come to that with an intention. Now that intention is to close read well. What it means to close read is that, well, you're reading a text closely. To read a text closely means that you're paying attention as you read. There are a number of different ways that you can pay attention as you read. Now, one way that you can pay attention and read closely of any primary text is to always read that text with a pen in hand or with some way to take note, whether it's highlighting in your Kindle and making notes directly in your Kindle or on your laptop, whether it's writing in the margin and underlining, whether it's making a voice recording of what you found interesting in, this video or, this film, whether it's just jotting down some notes. Either way, you want to read actively, right? So you want to be an active presence as you read. What I like to do as a hallmark of close reading is I constantly am writing my thoughts. Oh, I liked this. Oh, that seems problematic to me. Oh, I like the use of red here. Anything. Or, I experienced something similar to this. Writing that in the margin. That way when I go back, I can see what some of my reactions were to the text as I read. And I like to work from those basic reactions as a way to make more critical observations about the text. So step one is to read a text actively, right? You want to activate, you want to engage with it, whatever that means for you, whatever that might look like for you. A second way to read closely is to hone in on the aspects of the text that really speak to you, that really interest you. Now, I know because I've been reading closely and practicing close reading for a long time, I've learned some things about myself along the way. For example, as a close reader, I tend to always notice how the body is portrayed in literature, something that really fascinates me. I also often notice things like, food and especially cultural markers of food. I'm also very drawn to the Gothic aesthetic in literature. So I'll look for things that seem zombic or monstrous or out of place in some way. Another thing that I always look for naturally is, gender politics. How are men, particularly masculinity, right? How is manliness portrayed? How is femininity portrayed? Are there any problems within that discourse in the text? So when I sit down with the text, I know what my brain is going to kind of hone in on because, well, it often does. But sometimes I can surprise myself by honing in on contexts that I might not often, notice. So you want to be aware of your process as you're reading, and you want to be aware of what you like to read about. What do you care about in a text? Ask yourself that question as you continue to read texts and as you think about how to use them for an academic paper, because it really starts with your interests and what you feel is important about a text. So that's the second thing to do, right? Is to come to the table with your interests in mind, your motivations, your history. Bring that to the text, because a text comes alive through its reader. Right? A text is dead unless it has a reader. So that text comes alive through you. And I want you to manifest that aspect as you close read. The third aspect of close reading a primary text, what I would consider to be the final step of close reading, is to analyze some of what you're noticing about the text. So let's say that you're noticing that in Jane Eyre, there's a lot of mention of, aloofness, that characters seem really aloof at certain critical moments of the text. Let's say this is something that you notice throughout. Let's say accepting, some servants or something, right? So this is something that you've noticed, and now it's your turn to take what you've noticed about the text and to analyze it a little bit. So what analyzing is taking a large idea that you have and breaking it down into pieces so that you can examine those pieces and figure out how the whole works by examining its parts. Yeah. So that's the principle of analysis. So you want to take a look at the observations that you've made about the text, and you want to analyze those. What do they mean? What could they mean? Do they have significance? Well, of course they do, but what is that significance? What could that significance be? So you want to start to process your reading response, pretty much. So that's how you close read a primary text. You want to get down and dirty into it. After you've done that, it's time to manifest your process of close reading in the academic essay. It's very important that you do this in this particular genre, because one thing that academics really prize is they want to see that you've been intimate with that text. They want to see that you know about it. Now, you don't show readers that you know about a text by summarizing it. In fact, summary doesn't really play a large role in this genre. You can watch another video in this series about the differences between showing analysis versus summarizing. That's for a different day. But for now, we can talk a little bit more about how to manifest your close reading practices in your essay. One way to do that is to hone in on the thing. Let's say that you have really focused on the use of red in a particular novel, right? How the author is using red in setting and to describe emotion and to describe dress and character development. So let's say that you're honing in on red. Now, how do you manifest your close reading of this context in your essay? Well, one thing that you want to do for sure is you want to pick out 1 to 3 salient passages from the text that you can pull out as saying, these are the major passages that struck me as important. These are the passages that kind of set a light off in my head that made me aware that something was going on here with the author's use of red in this text, right? So bring that into the essay. Let the reader see the actual passage that you're talking about, and then take your time by grappling with it. So you want to introduce it, you want to unpack it. By unpacking it, I mean that you want to show its complexities. Take your time, describe how you read this text, right? Now, you could either do that by using the pronoun I. That can be acceptable when you're speaking about your own experiences, or you can just talk about it in a more kind of removed way by talking about, these are some things that a reader would notice about read, or this is how read functions, or this is what the author seems to be doing. There are lots of ways to come to terms with that, but you want to actually manifest your close reading by bringing in those passages. You must be interrogating the text in every paragraph of this genre. Particularly for the length of essay that most students are asked to write, right? A 5 to 7 or a 4 to 6 page paper. You want to make sure that every paragraph includes evidence of close reading. Another way to include evidence of close reading in your essay is to come to terms with major moments in the text. It doesn't always have to be a salient passage, but something about the text, a moment of the text, really pointing your finger at specifics and then showing the complexities, kind of breaking it up, right? Unpacking all of that. It is a process of presenting and unpacking from the text. That's how you manifest close reading in this genre. I hope that has been helpful for you. One way that close reading does not come forward in a text is by summarizing the plot or giving a general sense of the importance of the text or things that you notice. Close reading is shown through specifics, through engaging the text, through relevant moments, and showing the importance and the function of those moments for you as a reader. I hope that makes sense in clarifying a little bit what is meant by close reading. The opposite of close reading might be passive reading. And you definitely never want to be a passive reader. Even if you hate the text, get enthusiastic about your hatred. Hone in on exactly what it is you hate about the text and interrogate it. Let us know the specifics and let us know how it made you feel and what you think it's lacking, what you think it needs. That's close reading, right? I hope that helps a lot. I'll see you guys next time.